by the Word on Wealth Radio Network.
The airing of this program by this station is not an endorsement or recommendation by the station of the products or services discussed in the program. The station does not guarantee the results of any investments made by a listener to this program.
This is the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary is a San Diego financial solutions attorney, protecting people like you. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. Now, here's Gary.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Word on Wealth, the Finding Joy Friday edition. So, on Mondays, we talk about Medicare and tax. On Tuesdays, we have our mortgage specialist, Shane Sletter. Wednesday, we have Ken Pecos, who's our real estate off the charts, incredible real estate expert. Thursday, we have Anthony Wright, who's our finance expert. And Friday, we had Finding Joy Friday. Well, I invited today a woman named Cindy Hasz. She is, and we're going to learn the difference between managed care, care managing, and a care manager. So Cindy's here to tell us all about it. I was talking to her about it the other day. She was in my office, and we were talking about care management, taking care of mom. And I went, wait, Cindy, you've got to come on my radio show so I can ask you questions. So she is brave enough to agree to come on the show and let me ask her questions because she doesn't think I could trip her up. Right?
No comment.
Welcome to the show, Cindy.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being here. So Cindy is a care manager. Now, do you have a company name now?
Yes, Grace Care Management.
Grace Care Management. So Grace Care Management, Cindy's going to tell us about what it does. And literally our show for this half hour, we're going to be talking about taking care of mom, because that's what happens to all of us as our parents get older. It's like, it's time to take care of mom. If you want to call and ask Cindy a question directly, we're going to open the lines up right now, and it's 888-344-1170, 888-344-1170. So Cindy, tell us about your company and tell us a little bit about what is a care manager, what you do for your job.
So Grace Care Management was started back in 2000, after I'd been in nursing for about 25 years, and had learned that there was such a thing as private duty care management. Didn't know what that was, had never heard of it.
Which a lot of people are looking like, well, what is that?
Yes,
so get to learn.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's basically, I can describe it best by what we do.
Okay.
Our functions, our primary functions are patient advocacy. So advocacy, helping elders and their families understand what they need, help them navigate the system.
Okay.
Help them locate and engage with providers, many different providers in that space, all the way from doctors on the professional end, attorneys, fiduciaries, accountants, to the actual hands-on care side of it, which is caregivers, agency-based, private duty, mobile doctors, all the various resources that are out there to help people as they age.
Wow. So I didn't even know that people like you existed. And I know I deal with a lot of people who are dealing with that situation. Like, okay, mom's starting to struggle and we don't know what options are. And so they just kind of like go, I don't know where to look. And they just kind of look and try to find a place. And then we have you, where you actually are a professional care manager. And so people can contact you and say, hey, Cindy, here's the situation. Mom might be needing, what are my options? And then you have this full gamut of all this information you can help and share with them.
Right. Which is why there's not that many of us.
Yeah.
Most of us are nurses or social workers. And most nurses and social workers end up in a specialty, whether as a nurse, it could be med surg, could be pediatrics, could be, the same thing with social workers. And they usually work in a hospital, in a skilled nursing facility, in some kind of a facility, or in a healthcare system. Whereas care managers function in and between all those different entities and know the maps in each one of those areas.
And see, what I think is confusing, I know for me, when that time came for my mom and even my dad, it was like there was just too many options. Like my mom, she was on Medicare, she was on Medi-Cal, and what were the options available. We lucked out because my sister ended up taking care of her. We moved her into a big travel trailer on my sister's property, right as about she kind of when she about forgot what the world was, and she got dementia. So we really, really lucked out. But not a lot of people are that lucky. I mean, we deal with that all the time. And, you know, in my profession, it's like, what's going on? Where's your mom? And then we're dealing with, is that why is she getting worse? Why is it not happening? So now if somebody wanted to hire you and say, yes, that's what I need to talk to somebody like Cindy, how would they get a hold of you?
So we have a website, gracecaremanagement.com.
Okay.
We have an office-based number, 760-789-9177. And you can reach us through the website, send an email, request information, or just give a call.
Okay. So gracecaremanagement.com then is probably the easiest. Gracecaremanagement.com. I write everything down so I can remember when I talk about it later. Okay. Very good. Okay. So now let's talk about options. So if somebody calls you and says, mom's, I need to figure out whether I can keep mom at her home. She's starting to have more needs. None of us really live that close. One of us could maybe move. What are options for mom? Lives in her own home. Dad's already gone. And now she's having some issues with, why is there a bruise on the side of your face, mom?
2 minutes.
Oh, just, you know. So what is the process then? I call you in and say, Cindy, I need some help. How do you start that process?
Well, it starts with a conversation. So we talk through what the situation is. Sometimes that's a 15-minute conversation. Sometimes that's an hour. And based on that conversation, I can make recommendations. If they're ready to engage with a care manager, great. If not, I give them all the information they need to take the next step.
Okay. That's super important. And so then part of it is going to be just options available. And then the one thing I wanted to kind of get to kind of the basics too, as we kind of come up, we're going to come up on a break in a second, but are there certain like levels of care, like mom's totally independent and now she needs, you know, and I want to kind of go through the levels of care all the way to, yeah, they're on hospice.
Okay.
So maybe, let's see, we're going
1 minute.
we're going to take a real quick break. All right. So let's do this. Finding Joy Friday. This is a Word on Wealth with Finding Joy Friday. And I've got Cindy Hasz with me. She is a care manager, professional care manager. And her job is to help people figure out how to take care of mom, how to take care of dad. What are the options that are available? This is stuff you don't hear about a lot. And I think it's really special that we have Cindy with us for this half hour. If you want to be a part of the show or just give Cindy a call now on the air, you can ask a question and we'll be able to talk about it. It's 888-344-1170. Okay. If you do have the need or the concern where you want to figure out options and see whether a care manager is the person that you need to talk to, gracecaremanagement.com. Just go to gracecaremanagement.com and you can contact them through their website. It's the easiest way to do it. All right. We'll be back in a second right here on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We are here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST. You're saving and investing for the future, and that's good. Have you ever stopped to think, where does my money actually go? This is faith-based investing with Anthony Wright.
Most Christians just don't understand that the money they save for retirement usually helps fund the abortion industry and other liberal anti-family causes. But did you know that with just a few minutes of your time, we can screen and clean your investments at no cost to you? It's absolutely complimentary. Just go to the website right now, download a free copy of my book, Faith-Based Investing. It's free as well. You deserve to know the truth as the investor. Then the choice is yours. You can keep doing what you're doing, or you can line up your investments and life savings with your beliefs. We are fiduciary investment advisors. You can feel good about investing with confidence. So learn more now. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com or call me at 931-RETIRED. Your free book is waiting for you. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com and be sure that you listen to Faith-Based Investing this weekend right here on Family Talk.
So Gary, we've talked a long time about estate administration. So what is that and why is it important?
Estate administration is the distribution part of estate planning. So when someone passes away and they leave money to beneficiaries, the property has to be administered. So it's like taking it from the decedent to the survivor. That's called the estate administration process. So usually you're going to have a successor trustee that's named in the trust. They'll have no idea what they're doing because they've never done it before. So then they call on GQ Law and we walk them step by step on how to be a successful and good successor trustee. We also do the required notifications. We notify the Department of Health Services and all the legal requirements so that they can have the estate administration done properly. We help successor trustees be successful.
Call or click to request your free consultation. GQLaw.com, 855-500-TRUST. GQLaw.com.
Who will you trust with the biggest financial decision of your lifetime? If you're planning to buy or sell a home in San Diego County, do what I do and work with the true San Diego real estate experts. Ken Pecos and the Pecos Group helped me and my family. They can help you. This is Gary Quackenbush of The Word on Wealth. You hear Ken every week here on The Word on Wealth. He's our expert. He's got integrity, exceptional service, deep knowledge of the San Diego, Coronado, and South Bay regions. These are just some of the reasons that Ken Pecos has completed hundreds of transactions. He manages a powerful team of professionals at the Pecos Group. From single-family attached homes to luxury high-value waterfront properties to apartment buildings, Ken Pecos is ready to help you avoid problems and costly mistakes. Learn more online at kenpecos.com. That's Ken Pecos, Pecus.com. Or call 619-977-8419.
DRE number 010566969, brokered by eXp Realty.
When they
Okay, here, go back.
You're not alone. Ask for the legal help you need. Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's GQLaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
So we have the privilege of having Cindy Hasz. She is a care manager at gracecaremanagement.com. So if you have questions on, is it time to look for a place for mom, how to get like in-home care, whether that's, just like home helpers, and we're going to be talking about those things between now and we're going to go right to the bottom of the hour with Cindy. If you have questions, it's 888-344-1170. And their website is awesome. It's gracecaremanagement.com. They have the contact us, the team, and all that. And you can learn about all your people that you need to know. All right. So I've asked Cindy to outline for us what are kind of the levels of care from mom needs nothing to all the way to whatever, hospice, I guess.
Okay. So I'll categorize them in terms of independence.
Okay.
So when mom needs, it's clear to you, you're seeing signs that maybe she's not eating real well. So she may be losing some weight, or maybe there've been some falls. maybe she's just, you can really see there's a change in her cognition and you're not comfortable with her being alone 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
And the very first thing that people do, and of course there's always exceptions, but home care. So home care is non-medical care that you pay for out of pocket. Medicare does not pay for it, which is always a big surprise to many people I
Yeah.
talk to,
Yeah.
unhappy one at that. That's out of pocket anywhere from, it's usually in San Diego, it's between, I don't know, mid 30s and mid 40s right now, went way up after COVID. Per hour.
Yeah.
So if you need much care, it gets very expensive. So for somebody that has resources and, you know, who really just wants to be home and the family's, you know, in support of that, or if they're alone,
Mhm.
then they can make that decision. And that's a whole universe we could talk about another time.
Okay.
As things get more medically complicated, they have congestive heart failure, they're diabetic, they have multiple chronic illnesses
Mhm.
that need to be well managed. And home health is not the end all be all answer for anything medical, because they only come out a short period of time. It's initiated by the doctor, not by the client or the family. So when things get more medically complex, there's a lot of medications, they're not being taken on time, mom's getting confused, then often people start thinking about assisted living, what's broadly called assisted living. That includes 6-bed board and care facilities. They're usually referred to as board and care, smaller.
Somebody buys a big fat home in Poway
Mhm.
somewhere and it has 7 to 8 bedrooms and they make 6 of them into the facility.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. And there are some 12 bedrooms, there's some 30 bed, but then it
Wow.
starts being called assisted living, the
Okay.
bigger that they get. They're all licensed the same way. So that's an interesting conversation about what does that license entail. It's a non-medical license, which is also a big surprise to people because they figure it's the same as the skilled nursing facilities, but just, you know, cheaper. And
Interesting.
insurance doesn't usually pay for it. That's changed a bit in the last few years. There's now a Medi-Cal waiver paying for assisted livings, which was never the case before. The only place that you could get mom on Medi-Cal has been in a skilled nursing facility. Now there are many assisted livings in the county that participate in the waiver program.
Mhm.
It is a long wait list, so that's a couple years. But so then let's say because it is a non-medical facility, there's different levels of care in the assisted living. Some people are independent, go down to dinner and have a good life there and play bridge and do all the stuff with their friends. Yeah.
Always bridge.
Yeah, it's the first thing that I said came to mind was bridge. I'm not a bridge player. I'd be playing checkers or just, I don't know,
Poker.
poker. Then there's people there that need to help getting in and out of bed, needing help dressing. There's different levels of care in assisted living, but when they really need serious medical care, that is skilled nursing level.
Okay.
And that gets complicated. So anyway, that's the kind of 20,000 foot view.
Okay. So basically it's home health. I guess we're calling it home health, or where you have somebody that's a companion that's there to make sure that mom's not going to take a tumble, or if she does, at least there's somebody with her, and that's an hourly thing. No medical technical expertise. So then you might have to go more than that and have actual medical care provided in the home. So that could be actually in addition to having, you know, if you're going to try to keep them at home. But then if it gets to a point where you need like skilled nursing, literally somebody's coming in and doing, I think with my dad, it happened where he ended up having his second heart attack, and then 5-way bypass. He had a registered nurse come in. It was like 3 times a day because they had to do some procedures. His wife had capacity to be able to take care of him and stuff, but it was like this nurse had to come in like 3 times a day, very technical. The way they had the heparin lock and stuff like that on him, and do this crazy stuff. So there's that, and then sometimes it might get to where somebody just has to be there. You have to have basically medical availability like 24/7.
So that's very rare, actually. So just a distinction between home care and home health. That is one big area of confusion to people.
Okay.
Home care is the non-medical private pay not nurses. They are caregivers. That's strictly, they are there to do what we call activities of daily living, help with meals, bathing, hygiene, grooming. They do not do anything medical. So that's home care. People get that confused with home health.
Now, do home care help with the patient, the old person taking their medication, or that's like, no, we don't touch that?
Well, there's some gray areas, a lot of gray areas where that's concerned.
Right, which is one of the scary ones you told me. It's like, okay, you're helping them take a blood pressure medication, but you don't put the cuff on because you don't know how to do that. And so it's like, well, I guess it's time. And then
yeah. So that's a complicated little gray area. But
by the way, this is the stuff that Cindy and I talk about when I go like, wait a minute, do you mean all healthcare providers are not the same? And do you mean all health?
yes.
And we've had some harrowing conversations that we're like, okay, we're not going to do that on the air, but it gets complicated.
The home health is paid for by Medicare or insurance, whatever your insurance is. It's not out of pocket. Whereas the around the clock caregiver situation, 8 hours, 12 hours, 6 hours, the person that stays and helps you cook your meals, and
that's out of pocket.
That's out of pocket, and that's called home care.
Okay, so home health then would be they come and administer medications and do take the vitals and something, and they're only there for a period of time.
Very short period of time.
Okay.
And 2 or 3 times a week. Occasionally, when somebody has a high level need, like your family member did, they can come in daily to do X, Y, or Z, but that's not typical. If it's long term, it's not going to be home health, because Medicare and all the insurances are going to keep that very prescribed. So there are registries in town where you can hire a nurse, a licensed nurse, for as many hours as you need. It can be 2 12-hour shifts. And of course, that's quite pricey, but it's available. Those are registries. There's quite a few of them in town. This is the kind of thing that, I would give you some names and numbers.
Right. That's where we're not going to go and Google best nurse registry in town and go, I want that one for mom. That's where we're calling Cindy and saying, okay, because I was doing my math at the beginning of the show, and I love that. It was like, you go, so I started Grace Care Management in 2000. I'm going, okay, that's 23 years ago. And that's after I was a nurse for 20 years. I went, you have been around. You've been a nurse for 40 years.
And that's what it takes to be a care manager, because you can't have just been in one area. You have to, strangely enough, been from the acute care hospitals to the skilled nursing, used to be called nursing homes or rest homes, to home care, to hospice. You have to know all those areas so you can help people navigate. Otherwise, you don't know what you don't know.
Well, I think sometimes people think, well, but if I hire a care manager person, that's like an out-of-pocket thing, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, well, but that's expensive and it's out of pocket. And it's like, well, guys, if it's your mom and your mom's money, or your dad and your dad's money, it's like, I guess one of the things, and I know I expressed this to you a little bit, is it bugs me a little bit when kids kind of cheap out. And I know that sounds really rude, but we are blunt today. It's our Friday, but sometimes kids cheap out, and I'm going like, why are you cheaping out on mom? Well, because, that's expensive. I go, it's not your money and it's not your care. Your mom put all this money away, and so did your dad, so that they could have the best they could get, happy life for their whole life. And if they have to spend it all on care, and that's what makes their life happy, and there's nothing left for you, I don't really care about that. I want to make sure your mom's taken care of. And I know there's a balance with that. And I know a lot of part of the balance. Can you stay past the break, by the way? Okay, good. So a lot of the situations I see is like the senior, right, that needs the care is the one that's saying, don't spend any money on me. I don't want to use any of that. That's all for you kids. I don't spend any money. It's like, that's where I think that's where the kids have to step up and just say, thanks, mom. That's really kind. This is what we're going to do because you need care. I don't care what it costs. This is your money. And of course, my Tuesday show is all about how to finance that kind of thing. And we've been talking about, equity in homes in San Diego and all that. And so it's nice to have kind of, you talking about care management and how that works. And then we have people that are like, well, you could afford it. Mom's sitting on, $1.5 million equity in your home with no money, so we talk about all kinds of things like that. That is called the Word on Wealth, and that's why we talk about this stuff. This is the Word on Wealth, and it's Finding Joy Friday. We've got Cindy Hasz. She is the manager, operator, and founder of Grace Care Management. So if you're looking at the need for taking care of mom, taking care of dad, yourself, and you're trying to figure out what are my options, what's coming up, what's coming, what's really coming down the road, you got to look that far out. Go to gracecaremanagement.com and get a hold of Cindy and just say, hey, I want to talk. They have a place you go on, contact us. You can get your free, no obligation consultation. You can get that on gracecaremanagement.com. This is Finding Joy Friday. We're going to open up the lines right after the break. Cindy's going to stay with us a little bit longer. It's going to be 888-344-1170, and we'll be back in just a minute.
You've got questions. We've got answers. This is the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Here's exciting news, announcing the latest addition to our team of experts here to serve you and make your financial life just a bit easier. Shane Sletter is our new mortgage and home finance advisor here on the Word on Wealth. Be sure to listen every Tuesday at 2, have your questions ready, and learn how your current home and real estate investments may just be the most important game-changing keys to your financial future and retirement.
Thanks so much, Gary. I'm part of a team and a family serving our San Diego area neighborhoods for decades. We're your neighbors, and we have one goal: to provide financing that will fit your short and long-term financial objectives with outstanding personal service. Learn about what makes us different at SanDiegoMortgageNews.com or call us now at 858-683-1716.
Discover Shane Sletter at Team Sletter at RWM Home Loans at SanDiegoMortgageNews.com.
Of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Happy Friday. Finding Joy Friday here on the Word on Wealth. Gosh, we do this every Friday. We've got Cindy Hasz. She is a certified care manager, and we're talking about what is available to you take care of mom, take care of dad, health care, health management, that kind of thing for seniors, right? Seniors, old people, whatever you want to call them. I mean, I'm up in that category, but Cindy does this professionally, and she is a care manager. And, I was talking before the break, and Cindy kind of said, well, Gary, we're not that expensive compared to everything else. It's like, these are the kind of people, like when you call or go to Grace Care Management, they're helping you figure out how to actually cost effectively, not to cheap out, but just, this is too much. You don't need that. Here's what you need. And here's a cost effective way of doing that. Because if you're thinking it gets paid for by Medicare, that's a real stretch, because Medicare is government subsidized healthcare, and not Obamacare. Okay. That's the other government, whatever healthcare thing. Right. But Medicare isn't the end all, catch all, do all. It does its thing. It's great. You have to buy the supplement plans and all that kind of stuff too. But Cindy and I are talking about things that kind of blow me away. Like, okay, well, I need somebody to watch over mom because I got to work full time, and I'm going to have somebody come and sit with her. And that's necessary. And my doctor said, yeah, you can't leave mom alone. And so I'm hiring somebody to work there. And Cindy goes, people think that gets paid by Medicare, but sorry, folks, that doesn't get paid for by Medicare. So what are your other options? So let's talk about that a little bit, where I want to go into like, if you're consulting with somebody, what are some of the options available? And what I really want, and I know it's radio and it's going to be permanent when we say it, but I also want to hear warnings, like, watch out for this, watch out for that, because I think there's so many pitfalls. We're dealing with people's lives. This isn't your money. It's not like, oh, I lost my money, I invested it wrong, I bought a crummy car, whatever. These are people's lives. And so to me, the warnings they're appropriate. And I think that's what we're here for.
Yes. Wow. Where should we start?
I know. So tell us a little. So I guess, first of all, we know, because I already spilled the beans on that, right? Is the what's the first level again? It's the home.
So home care.
Home care. Home care is not covered by Medicare at all.
Well, there is one little carve out for Medi-Cal, IHSS, which is in-home support services.
Okay.
That they provide, it's a income-based service, and you get as many hours as you qualify for. But there's a lot of disconnects in that system. I could go into it a different time.
I'll bet you could.
Yeah.
Well, and because IHSS, sometimes that's where you go like, well, who's this on your couch? This young man here. He goes, oh, that's my grandson. And why is he always sitting on your couch? Because IHSS pays him to be here to watch over grandma.
Yeah.
They're going, okay, that's the kind of stuff. That's income based. Grandma has no money, basically is indigent. And so IHSS has to have somebody, and you might as well trust the grandson to do it. Pay him.
Right. You might get somebody really good, but you have to know, what could happen, just to be on alert, on watch. And the same thing for private duty caregivers. You can get great caregivers that are out there. You also can get not very great, to put it mildly, caregivers, and you have to know what to look for. The agency caregivers have their positives and negatives, and you really need to be dialed in to know what to look for.
Well, I mean, with I've had Kaiser for the whole time I've been married, so super long time. And a lot of people go, oh, Kaiser or whatever. But I've just learned that depending on where you are with Kaiser, I just need to shop for doctors. I need to test them. If I don't like them, get a different one, and I could lock into a doctor. But it's been this process where I don't just go, whatever, I guess that's doctors available. It's like, I am really particular about who I find. And then when I find a doctor that I really like, I'm absolutely insistent that that's the care that I'm getting, and it works,
I wish all my clients were like that.
Yeah. But I just don't want to go in and say, yeah, I think I tore my meniscus, and have somebody going, oh, okay, does this hurt? Does that hurt? No, I don't. Let's do an x-ray. Let's do an MRI. I'm not sure what it is, but you probably shouldn't do that activity anymore for the rest of your life. It's like, I'm not buying that. It's because you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, you only have 5 years of experience. So I have a guy my doctor now has been doing it for like 25 years and he's a sports medicine specialist. And so when I get injured, he usually laughs and goes, happened on the weekend, right, Gary? Yeah, it did. So, I'm always falling off of something, but I think shopping for care is super important. And we just don't know how to do that. And when there's all the emotions involved, like, well, mom doesn't want to spend any money. Mom doesn't want to get a second on her house because, or a reverse mortgage on her house to pay for care because she just says, oh no, that's a horrible thing. But I think us as the kids, we need to kind of look at the options available and say, look, mom, we've all talked about this and we really think this is what you're going to do, because I'm just finding this concept that most parents, if the kids are together and say, mom, I know how you feel about this. I know how you feel about taking the equity out of your house, whatever, but we really think it's important and we think it's okay. And we really want to do this, that mom will go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to get ahead of the curve on that. And I think call somebody like Cindy, Grace Care Management, and get on that and start to kind of get your thought process going. Don't wait until it's like, oh my gosh, mom fell again. And now she whacked her head. And so now I need to start working on this. I get, Cindy, it is literally heartrending to me. I get so many calls, Gary, mom, she's got some issues. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't recognize me anymore. I need to know, should I get a power of attorney because mom doesn't have it? And I'm just like going, somebody drop the ball. It's too late. You can't get a power of attorney when somebody's gone beyond the point of capacity. So there's just, and I think even with like care management, it's like you need to know ahead of time. Get on Cindy's calendar, find out about this. Now, I want to know a couple things. And I'm going to be careful. I don't want to drop names and stuff like that. But let's say, I know my wife and I, we are over, like there's some facilities that are close to the coast. And I go, gosh, that's a beautiful facility. There's lawns right out here. You could smell the ocean breeze and you can hear the waves. I'll bet that's a great facility. And you find out, well, it's $14,000 a month. Going, well, if I'm going to pay $14,000 a month, if I have that kind of money, they're probably great. They're probably great care.
They all have the same problems,
Okay.
and that's staffing.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest ones, is staffing, and being understaffed is a very common problem.
And I just think that just has to be a reality for all of us, because it's like, if I go, well, I want a really good steak, I'm going to go to Carver's because I know all of their chefs are incredible. All their wait staff is incredible. Well, they are until they're not, right? But that's food. And I can go, okay, forget that. I'm never going to go back to Carver's, or I'll go back later. But when you have, you have your parents in there in this facility and it's all fancy, you think everything's great, and you can smell the bread baking and the cookies and the music in the background. And then you're going like, mom, why do you look like you're not sleeping? Are you being taken care of? And I think we have to kind of face reality. Not all the employees are going to be helpful.
That's right.
I mean, are there ways where you can kind of like go, okay, well, that facility doesn't have any good employees right now, let's avoid that facility? Is that kind of the stuff you do too?
Yes.
Okay.
So we monitor. So you really need eyes and ears, whether they're family eyes and ears in skilled nursing or any of these facilities. You need eyes and ears. Somebody visiting frequently is your best protection.
And that's something that you help out with?
Absolutely.
Because I think you were telling me the other day, I mentioned a place, I went, hey, Cindy, I went and visited this facility because I was the lawyer. We were doing a conservatorship and I had to go visit somebody, and there was appointed counselors, all this stuff. And the poor woman, she had no idea what was going on. She was just like, conservator, qualified, whatever. And I thought, well, that's a neat little facility. And Cindy goes, actually, and was starting to tell me stories about, she has basically clients all over the county at these different places. And she's going, well, they are good, except when there's certain people that work there and they're mean. And I go, what do you mean mean? She goes, well, some people are just, they get cranky and they get mean with the patients. And, we're all human beings, but most companies, we're kind of running on just having trouble keeping people happy at their job. And I think that's the kind of stuff you do, where you actually go and you visit and you know what's going on, you know who to talk to, and you know the people, and you've stayed sometimes to just kind of watch what's going on to manage it. Not that the facility is terrible, everybody's terrible. It's just like, you got to have somebody and who's going to be the advocate for you as the kid for your mom who's in the facility. And that's going to be somebody like Grace Care Management.
Right. Yeah. And there's nobody else besides care managers that can do it over a length of time. You can get a nurse coming in
Mhm.
through home health, but she's only going to be there for a couple of weeks. So longer term, we're kind of like air traffic control and a tour guide all wrapped into one.
Okay. I just, my point of bringing Cindy on, because I've been thrilled. I've talked to her several times about this kind of thing. It fits right into what we're doing here at Word on Wealth. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you want to get a hold of Cindy, just remember gracecaremanagement.com, gracecaremanagement.com. You can go and meet the team, get an appointment and talk. But this is, if you ask me, Gary, what do I do? I'm just going to say gracecaremanagement.com. Thanks for being on the show, Cindy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back in just a minute right here on the Word on Wealth Finding Joy Friday.